Welcome to GenderMeowster Podcast Network. Genderful is a talk show featuring non-binary and trans folks discussing various topics and special interests. We kindly remind our listeners that no person is a monolith of identities. All opinions are the speaker's own. This show airs live on Twitch at twitch.tv/GenderMeowster, and VODs with show notes can also be found on YouTube. Hello, my friend, you're here.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you on the show.
I'm excited too.
Like, if I could just bounce around and stim all over just because I'm so thrilled, I just would, but I'm trying to not wreck my desk so we can have this conversation.
Maybe for the best.
So maybe let's just start with names and pronouns for those like watching and listening later who don't know who we are. So I'm GenderMeowster and I use they them pronouns.
I'm Ray. I also go by NoAngel13 on Twitch and most places, and I use they them pronouns as well.
Yay. Oh, all the friends in chat. Hi, all the friends in chat. I'm so happy to see all of you too. So everyone, Ray is one of our moderators on the channel.
I am?
And you do such a good job.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy moderating. I moderate for, I think, 7 Twitch streamers now.
Yeah, you're popular. I tell people you're like a cat about town.
Yeah.
I just imagine
like
the cats that go house to house and get pets and little snacks and, you know, offerings, tributes.
That's definitely my brand.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
For those that like astrology, what's your sun sign? Do you know?
Aquarius, I think.
Nice. I am a Leo. I'm a quadruple Leo. Because of course I am.
Yeah.
It's so fun. So you told me a fun piece of trivia today. I said, nice shirt, and then you told me about it. Will you tell us again?
I did. I made it. I made it myself.
You made it.
I did.
It's so good.
Thank you.
Would you call it a Hawaiian shirt or like it's like a button-up situation?
It's a button-up situation. You can't see it all the way down. It's got little pockets as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just got I got some like proper clothes patterns last year and got some fabric and made myself some things, and this is one of the things I made. So yes.
That's so great. I set up the filters on my Zoom call so that I could have a beard.
Yes. It's a very nice beard. You look very good with it.
I feel so handsome. So for anyone who's like, wow, you grew that beard really fast during that scene change for a split second, that's what we did. It's a Zoom beard. It's so fun. Yeah, self-made shirt. Can you believe it? With pockets. Pockets are like everyone's favorite things about clothes.
Yeah. Whenever I make myself clothes
that are only pockets.
Yeah, I put pockets in everything I make because it's just the joys of growing up wearing women's clothes where quite often you don't have pockets. And yeah, it's just like, oh, now I'm going to just put pockets in everything. I have a sewing machine, I can make clothes with pockets.
I love that. Speaking of all that, if you would like to support our guest, there is periodically a little guest command that is posting info in the chat. You can tip NoAngel on Ko-Fi, or if you're in the UK, you can buy a mask. There's pride masks.
Yep.
There's like solid color masks. I think I saw rainbow and trans pride. Are there more? Oh, the rainbow is so good.
Got the rainbow ones.
Yeah, my green screen filter is clipping the green out, and it's like non-binary purple color, but they're so great.
And there's the tie-dyed trans flag that I did because I couldn't find trans pride flag fabric that was the right size, so I just tie-dyed it. Then I've got other ones that I did recently, some sort of rainbow space.
Yes, rainbow space.
And
so
I like
cool.
these like bendy style ones because they're quite good if you wear glasses, because you can put the nose bar in.
Yeah.
To, like,
so you can wear glasses and not fog them up.
Yes.
I love that. That's so great. Do the masks
I was shipping
have
them everywhere. Unfortunately, well, they have little filter pockets, so you can put filters in.
This is my mischief mustache.
Mischief mustache. Yeah, I was originally shipping them internationally, but unfortunately recent changes in shipping things outside of the UK mean it's a whole lot of paperwork to ship outside the country now, so yes, even the masks have little pockets.
I'm so delighted you're here. I could just cry or shout. I don't know. It's so exciting. I love it.
Aww.
So before we get to like serious things, what is your favorite video game right now? Tell us all about it.
Well, you're responsible for introducing me to it. Yeah. It's still Stardew Valley. I think you said last time you went on Steam, it was like, oh yeah, so-and-so's done this many hours, so-and-so's done that many hours, raised on like 50-odd hours on Stardew Valley, because, yeah, mildly addicted. It's fine. It's not a problem.
It's so peaceful.
It's so nice and wholesome. But yeah, I started a second save file because I was just like, I need to do more things and better.
It's so great.
And, you know.
So your second or your third? Because there was like the one that we played together a little bit, and then you started one, and then you just started another one after that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because in the first one you got married to someone or something, right?
Yeah.
So now you got to start over and go marry somebody else.
Yeah, I'm nearly there. I've got him his boyfriend now, not just like person I'm annoying with gifts. Yeah, it's a situation.
It's so great. Yeah,
I saved the co-op one for if I am going to play with friends, so I can have it as a like playing with friends one.
I love that so much. You got to figure out how to turn the mods off on mine, so I don't heck it all up for everybody else.
Go in the wrong house and crash the game.
Yeah, I've done that twice now on stream.
Oh no.
It's like, it's disappointing.
I'll just have to get mods and then we'll have to do a modded save and get a new save that's all mobs so we can have all the mods.
That would be super fun. I would love that so much. Oh my gosh. If anyone wants to play Stardew with us, you can also join the Discord.
Yes.
Sometimes we'll ping the Stardew Valley cats in the Discord and just be like, "Hey, it's a weird time of day. We're gonna play video games. You want to come?" It's so good. I love it so much. Yeah,
it's a good time.
So, what country do you live in? I'm in the USA. For people who don't know, we just had the terrible holiday. The terrible holiday with the fireworks that traumatizes everyone. I did not observe the official holiday, and instead we had like queer haircut time and like lay around and talk about life time in a very unpatriotic way. Also, I sent money to Indigenous people yesterday because that's how I'd like to celebrate independence is we shouldn't be here in the first place. Please take my money.
That's the mood. Yeah, I'm UK based. I live in northern England at the minute and have for most of my life. So yeah, it's we didn't have the terrible holiday this weekend. We had sports ball nonsense instead.
Sports ball
because
nonsense.
The England team are doing well in a competition apparently.
So it's like our my independence from your country? Question marks.
Yes. Yeah, I guess it is. Technically, but yeah, it's a whole situation.
I want to do some sort of you can't tell me what to do dad joke right here, but I don't remember if dad gives you euphoria or not. Nah. Can't tell me what to do, parent. Thumbs up.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't plan on having offspring, so it's not one I've really considered. Mm-hmm. I think my sibling is considering doing the whole children having thing, so we're gonna have to come up with a word for aunt, uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Like a non-binary alternative for that if that happens. So
I like Anki for that, uncle and auntie put together.
Yeah, I haven't found one that's like really hit for me yet, but we'll cross that bridge, I guess. If they end up doing that, they might change their mind, or I don't know. We'll see.
Brackish in the chat adds ankle.
Ankle, yes.
The other inverted one is ankle instead of Anki.
Yeah. It's I don't know. We might just come up with a whole new word, a whole new thing, or I'll just be Ray, and it'll be fine.
Ooh, Fork says Pibbling, parent sibling. That's a good one too. I've heard that one. I think Mirror Me, I think, has also told me Pibbling before. Pibbling is so fun.
I think I prefer that to ankle.
It's so fun. Pibbling is adorable. I agree. Everyone loves Pibbling. There you go.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Maybe
we'll go with a consensus. Pib.
Like
Pib
sibling.
Ray.
Like Sib is short for sibling, right? Pib, parent sibling. Pib.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go see Pib Ray over at this place over here.
Yeah, that could be nice.
Cute. I started slouching, so I'm fixing my camera. Pibbling is so adorable. My ankle is visiting for insertication. Oh, you know what? You bring up a really good point, Morgan. We actually have spaces in our Discord that you are a very active mod in, where folks can like try on pronouns and names, and I think it's called pronouns tryouts, but you can also try names. It's not only pronouns. But yeah, there's a bunch of questioning channels. You can come find yourself. Come find yourself in the Discord server. It's great.
I think Morrigan's one of my humans.
That's so rad.
I
love that so much. Yay.
All the humans.
Oh, I'm so happy right now. Well, is there anything else you'd like to do for like the tell us a little about yourself question? We've done some cute chatting, but is there anything else you want to share?
I do lots of other crafting as well as sewing things. I knit and crochet. I have this crocheted front that I made.
The front. Look at the colors. I like its little eyeballs.
Yeah. I made one for Hawk's partner Mel that's purple, and she called it Stan, and she loves it very much, and it makes me very happy that she loves it so much. And I also do like other stuff like cross stitch.
That is rad. Look at that. Star Trek, right?
Reflection. Yeah. Yeah, nice. It's like Galaxy Star Trek pattern that I got off Etsy and did and framed.
Did you see the non-binary representation and trans representation in Star Trek Discovery?
I did.
That's so cool.
I thought it was really nice, and I've always wanted to have more of that stuff in Star Trek. Like, I've been watching, Star Trek since I was younger because my mom was into it, and in the 90s they were sort of pushing representation with having like some like LGB characters, but they didn't have like a lot of trans folks or like openly trans characters. So this recent series Discovery having like actual trans actors playing trans characters has been really nice. And yeah, excited to see what they do with it because I think they are doing at least another season.
Yeah.
So
yes. I hope so. I've been enjoying it so far. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's so great. Duh. All right. Well, we have many questions we could go with. Is there one that you're the most excited about? Like, do you want to do personal biography type questions, or do you want to jump into like UK's things?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
It's up to you. But I guess it's like, what would you be more interested talking about? It's your show.
Maybe we'll just start with how has your relationship to gender evolved over time? Like, maybe how did you realize you were some flavor of trans, and how did you land on the identity you have today, or identities that you have today? And
so like growing up, I guess, as a teen, I realized that I was not straight quite early on. Like, I think sort of 13, 14, realized that, like, oh, okay, I like girls. That's a thing. Oh, I also like boys. Okay. I guess that's a thing. And, you know, later on found words for that. I think I settled on bisexual for a bit, and then like when I was older, like sort of university age, found out about like queer as a term, which I quite liked because it was more like, I don't know, pushing the boundaries of like you know, well, I don't really mind what's in your pants. It's like I like the person more than like the bits.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started getting involved in like more LGBTQ groups and like meeting other folks of different identities. And um, I'd not had a lot of education about sort of like the various kinds of trans folk that there are. Like, I sort of knew trans folk existed, but only sort of binary people. And I was like, well, I don't really feel like I'm a boy. So I don't really think that that fits for me, but I never felt quite right as a girl either.
Hmm.
And then like met some other like non-binary, gender fluid, gender queer people, and was like, oh, okay, this is a thing that is an option. And it was sort of that led me to realizing like, oh yeah, that's I think I'm that. um, and then yeah, sort of settled on like non-binary um, as a label. But like I used genderqueer for like quite a while as well.
Yeah.
And then yeah, sort of I think 2016 I changed my name and started using like they them pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, and so I think at first I didn't really want to do any like medical transition. I was sort of like, we'll see how it goes. I'll figure it out. And then eventually decided I wanted to start on HRT, so like tried to get access to testosterone, which I started April last year. So yeah, I'm just over a year on, a year and 2 months, I guess, now on T, and which has been really cool, but it was also a very interesting time to transition.
Yeah.
When you're not seeing people as much and I wasn't going out as much, and it was just sort of like, is this side effect like because I'm stuck on my own and I can't see people? Is this because of the testosterone? Is it both? And so that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been kind of nice now. I've been able to sort of start seeing people again that they are noticing that my voice is dropped and like saying like, oh yeah, voice is deep and like that's really cool. That's
Mm-hmm.
like one of the main things that I wanted from testosterone. But yeah.
You know, I got to see one of my trans masculine friends for the first time in a while yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was telling them how their voice sounds deeper than the last time I heard them or saw them in person. And they totally blushed and giggled. They proceeded to just blush and giggle, and it was just the most wholesome, cute thing. And that's when I started telling them about you and how you were my guest today. You know, from yesterday was tomorrow, but my guest today. And I was like, Ray has this wonderful, like, velvety voice, and I hope you catch the show tomorrow so you can hear their voice because it just sounds so lovely.
Oh,
no. I also told them that your giggles are my favorite thing ever.
I'm glad you enjoyed them.
I've also been enjoying us like making each other laugh really hard in the server lately. We
Yeah,
keep posting
that's a
things
good
and just
time.
like, wow.
Yeah, I
It's
did
so
enjoy
good.
the one of the memes I posted, and then you commented on it, and you're like, "I'm literally laughing out loud, and I'm in a call with someone, and they're very confused right now because
Yeah.
I'm giggling at them, and they
I-
don't know why."
it's so good. It's so good. I love that
Uh,
so much. It's so
yeah,
good.
but I think it's been a nice thing that's come out of like spending more time online. We're getting to connect with folk and communities that I probably wouldn't have found otherwise, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I started the server because I wanted like a space for people who are trans, especially who were maybe going back to places they had to mask or hide their transness because of you know, social distancing and pandemic and stay home so you don't get sick thing. Quarantine,
yeah,
that's the word. And like it's been such an incredible year of like people coming together and supporting each other, and like I'm in a lot of Discord servers and I
yeah,
haven't seen very many that are as like wholesome and supportive and like very trans as ours. Like there's literally like people will leave the server and I'll do a little like exit survey. I'll just follow up and did anything go wrong? Like is there any conduct issues we need to be aware of that I just am unaware of? And there's been one or two people out of the like I don't know, however many that have come and gone,
mm,
that have said like honestly like it's so trans. I don't feel like it's a space that I'm supposed to be in, which also makes me a little sad because I'm like,
mm.
oh, we're trying to be welcoming to everyone. But frankly, I would rather the cishets leave than the you know than the
The
trans people
trans
leave.
folk leave. Yeah.
Yeah. So it feels really cool to have a space that's ours.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like it's great to have that community and that support. And like you said, we had the news area that we've introduced recently, the trying out like different pronouns and different names, and just
Mhm.
having that space to be able to try things out and experiment with new things and have folks drop in and help you sort of figure out that that stuff is amazing. Like so good.
Yeah. I love that our moderation team is in multiple time zones too.
Mm.
Because, like, I can go to bed at night, or let's be real, in the early morning, because I go to bed at like 2 in the morning, knowing that Ray is now awake
Yes.
and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. And
Because
I watched
someone's awake.
yeah, I watched the server during the day for me while you're in bed, and then you all get up and then I get a bed.
Yeah.
And you're all posting stuff, and I wake up in the morning and there's all these notifications, and I'm just like, oh, hell, you've all been busy overnight. But for you, it's in the day or like evening, I guess. But yeah,
Lizzie says, I love it here and I'm cis. So there you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're allowed to hang out if you're cis. That's
yeah,
allowed. You just gotta respect the trans.
yeah. And I mean, we do have lots of like folks that come in who aren't trans, who like aren't part of the LGBTQ community, but they're firm allies and friends and supporters and respectful. You know, and I mean, like I hang out a lot on DJ Ned's stream, like doing the board games with him on Sundays, and he's such a great pal, and he's just a really good ally to us trans folk that come in and annoy him.
Yeah. There's also a subcategory or subgroup of those people who realize they're trans after they've been around a while.
Yeah,
Like my favorite thing is all the little eggs that start hatching. They're like, so I might be non-binary. So I might use they them pronouns. So I might be plural. So
yeah.
I might have autism or ADHD or some other neurodivergent thing going on. It's so
I do
great.
love that. It's great.
It's like my favorite thing.
I mean, it's kind of
we've joked that we should rename it like Meowster's Hatchery or something.
Yeah, hatching all the eggs.
Hatching all the eggs.
But I mean, that's kind of like, like I was saying, like how I realized that I was a non-binary was just by hanging out with other trans people and, realizing that, their experiences or their sort of feelings about gender like overlapped with mine, and having a name for what I felt, Yay, Morgan's joined the server. Oh.
No. Now you can join the shenaniganery.
Shenaniganery. But yeah, and it's just having that sort of having the language to understand what you are as well. Like, you don't get taught about like trans folk in school generally, or at least I didn't.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
No. And it's, I mean, we weren't even allowed to be taught about gay people when I was at school. I'm not sure like how much you're aware of UK law, but during my school years, there was a law that meant that it was illegal for teachers to even talk to you about LGBT issues, like anything at all. And it's just like, oh wow, that's why I know absolutely nothing about my community as an adult, like without having done all my own sort of research, because they weren't allowed to teach it at school. And yeah, that didn't get taken out until like early 2000s, I don't think, which is very recent.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about what it's like being non-binary and trans in the UK, like now, more contemporary?
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I think it's obviously
our verbal
content warning.
Transphobia and trans medical care content warning.
Yeah, unfortunately, the UK government is hecking transphobic and has, with the media, sort of wound up this frenzy of like gender critical people, basically like a bunch of folk who don't agree that trans people are who we say we are and don't want us to have access to bathrooms, to changing facilities, to all this stuff. So it's been kind of difficult. Like, I think on a personal level, there's lots of people who are quite accepting of trans folk to me, like, on a personal day-to-day thing, but then you read the news and it's just all this hate that's coming at you. I mean, a lot of it is targeted at trans women specifically, but then there was a recent petition to the government to ask them to make non-binary folks like legally recognized, so we could have like non-binary options on like government forms and stuff, because at the minute it's just like you get the 2 boxes and that's it. And they basically said, no, we don't want to do that, it's too complicated to like have you be a legal thing. Which is frustrating.
Complicated is such an underwhelming answer.
Yes, it was very underwhelming. I mean, I wasn't surprised because the government's track record so far has been not good. But yeah, it was like, well, at least if we can get them to talk about it, then like that's something. But yeah, and then just like underfunding trans healthcare. Like a lot of the so like in the UK at least, like a lot of our healthcare is done through the NHS, which is free. So it means you don't have to pay, you don't have to have insurance to get access to healthcare. But if you want access to like trans healthcare, you have to get referred through Gender Identity Clinic or the GIC. And there's only like, I think there's only like 5 or 6 in the whole country. And they've all got massive waiting lists. Like I got referred to the one that's in the city that I live in, in October 2018. I am still on the waiting list.
It's been like nearly 3 years.
Yeah, nearly 3 years.
Coming up on 3 years. Yeah. Wow.
Like I only managed
to get a consult.
Yeah, that's just to talk to someone. That's not even to get any like, and then they can turn around to you and say, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're not like the right trans enough person. We're gonna just not treat you. Like, you can go and do your assessment," and then they can just be like, "Yeah, no."
Do they follow WPATH standards?
I mean, I don't know if it varies from clinic to clinic, but from what I've heard, some of the clinics can be quite not great, and especially for non-binary people. Like they seem to want folks to be doing the binary shift. And that's it.
And WPATH 7 is very binary. I've heard rumor that WPATH 8 is going to have more non-binary representation and options. So once that gets published, then there's the cascade of insurance companies have to then say, okay, we're updating what we'll accept, and then providers can offer it. We're a couple years out. Yeah. It's a whole time.
Yeah.
It's a whole time.
It's a whole time. I mean, I was quite lucky that I have a friend who they access testosterone through a slightly different route, which is also through the NHS, but not via the GIC, which is how I managed to get access to that without having to wait for the list. But yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about it, or is it sneaky and you shouldn't dox yourself?
It's not super sneaky. But I got referred to an endocrinology clinic that's based out of Harrogate Hospital, and it's basically this endocrinologist and his team who see like a whole bunch of trans folk, mostly trans masculine people, I think, because testosterone is quite a lot more difficult to medicate like yourself than estrogen, because you can't just like get it, because it's like can be used for like steroids and all that sort of stuff.
Muscle growth and all that for sports or whatever.
So it's like it's classed
the whole thing
as like
happening in the Olympics right now.
Yeah, it is.
Calm down. Let trans people participate. It's fine.
They're not even like the people that they've banned aren't even trans folks. They're just not anyway. But yeah, it's just a whole time.
It's racism. It's just blatant
it's
racism.
It is racism.
It's just blatant racism.
It is very blatant racism when it's like all the people that are getting banned are people of colour. But, you know, I don't feel like it's my place to talk about that as a white person. Like, as much as I'm very angry about it, it's...
I don't know. I feel like it's like when someone misgenders you and a cis person stands up for us and is like, hey, that's not their pronouns. There's like a relief in that, right? It's like, oh, I don't have to fight the good fight this second. Someone else is helping with it. So
it is a frustration. And I mean, it is like the overlapping of like racism and transphobia is well documented, I think. And them sort of pulling the like, oh, well, we don't want trans folk who have a biological advantage taking all the medals off the cis women as a like shroud for their racist nonsense.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, my wife is a trans woman, and she talks about it very openly, which is why I feel okay disclosing this. But like her physical strength and muscle mass has gone down since she started estrogen.
Yeah,
like you do lose the strength you had when you were guy mode if you're a trans woman. Like you lose it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You lose it for real. So it's like, I don't know. I think it should be like weight class instead of like gendered.
Yeah. I mean,
all sports should just be like wrestling. It's all weight class and any gender can compete. Because there's more than two genders, right? So there's no like, if there's a boys team and a girls team, where'd all the non-binary pals go? To the theater. That's where we go.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I'm not very good at sports, but I do like not like those kind of sports.
Some other sports you're good at?
I mean, pole is a sport. It's hard work. It is, but it's not one that features in the Olympics. So, funnily enough,
it's totally a sport. Does pole dancing have moves that have names? If so, which one is your favorite one?
they do have names, but they often differ. Like sometimes you'll go to a different place and they'll have a different name for the same move.
Okay.
So I don't know if they'll translate across the pond, so to speak.
Sure.
But I think the one I did quite recently was called a broken doll, and it's because the position you end up in, you kind of look like a broken doll, and it was quite tricky. And I'd seen other people do it, and I'd not. I was just like, oh wow, that looks hard. And then I did it. I was
Yeah,
very
you
pleased.
did. That's so rad. Have you ever considered doing other sort of, I want to call them circus arts, like the rope climbing and tumbling stuff that people can do, and like,
yeah,
I don't know. There's cool aerial arts you can do, silks and ropes and whatever.
oh, there's all sorts. Yeah, like some of the pole pals I have do like silks, do like a hoop thing. Um, one of my friends has got this like lollipop that's like a circle on a stick, and she does stuff on that, and it's like, yeah, I mean, there's stuff that I would definitely like to try out, but it's just sort of, I I enjoy pole, and I wanted to get to a point where I was like decent enough at that before I started looking at everything else, and then lockdown and pandemic things happened, and it's kind of like been like I mean, I've only sort of recently been able to get back to like going to the studio and practicing outside my house.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So it's, and I was very lucky in the fact that when they announced our sort of quarantining stuff in the UK, I could afford to buy myself a pole for my house. So I've got a pole at home. So I could keep practicing at home, but it's like it's difficult to learn more stuff.
Yeah. Maybe you can watch some like YouTube videos or something, but you
Yeah.
can only get so far with that.
Yeah, I mean, I know some folks were doing like virtual classes and stuff, but I found it quite difficult to follow on with those. And so yeah, just sort of kept practicing and stuff I knew. And when I had the mental capacity to do so, because it's been a time.
It's totally been a time. I'm so grateful for our community
Oh yeah,
and like
definitely.
loving each other through the time that we've all been having with
Yeah.
everything happening in the world.
Oh yeah, like I couldn't have got through this past like year or so without the like folks that I've found through Twitch and like one of my friends started posting, streaming, like quite early on, and joined in with that, and then like slowly discovering more different people as you do. Like you like raid into someone new, and like, oh yeah, this is a cool person. I like their vibe, and follow them, and before you know it, you need an extra screen so you can like have all the screens up, and yeah. This is
So
why I've got two screens.
how long have you been on the Twitch platform, do you think? Like a
When I started,
yearish or much more? Or...
yeah, I think Hawk started streaming sort of like March, April last year, so and that's when I started like they like messaged me and they're like, oh, I'm going to be doing this thing on Twitch. If you want to like hop in and we can like hang out and chat, and because I knew them from the real world.
Ooh, IRL.
Yeah. Well, we met. I think we met through Twitter, but then we did actually meet up in real life in 2019.
Nice.
And we've been good friends for like a while. And they were like
Aww.
messaging. They messaged me and they were like, "Oh, do you want to pop in and hang out?" And then yeah. all went up from there.
I just gave Hawkward a shout out.
Yeah.
What you're talking about.
Does
Hawkward use he, they pronouns? Do I remember that correctly?
Yes.
Nice.
We've got a question from Capybara posted in chat.
Yeah, so the question is, how can we as trans folks outside the UK help the effort to support UK trans folks to gain more rights and recognition?
I mean, I guess sort of like talking about the issues, like I don't know how much awareness like folks outside the UK have of the situation here. I mean, I know I've sort of seen like jokes online of like, oh yeah, UK being the turf island, which is, you know, painfully true sometimes, or it feels like it. But I mean, yeah, like I've been sort of sharing some of the petitions and stuff in the Discord, so like, you know, sharing those and hopefully being able to reach more people within your circles, because, you know, there's always going to be like a mix of folk, and I mean, yeah, just being there for each other and being, you know, supportive and like, you know, I know that American trans folk also have, you know, lots of their own sort of issues and battles to fight, as does like, you know, as do folks in other places around the world. And, you know, we've all got to be there for each other and listen to each other venting about our various struggles and fights. And but, you know, there's a limited amount you can do. I mean, I don't even know like how much organising we can do within the UK at the minute, because everyone's been so sort of broken up and not been able to come together in the way that we might usually do because of the situation. So it's yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to provide as much like emotional support as possible. That's as a like disabled person with limited income personally, like that's what I have to give.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you have like trans folks who have like, you know, surgery GoFundMes or HRT GoFundMes that are going, you know, share those in your circles, and if you can donate. Kira's put, if you're in a money able like to share person, the Good Law Project, Gendered Intelligence, Trans Media Watch, and there are lots of other like, you know, like local groups, but those are just a few that can be supported, or yeah, like support directly to trans folks who are raising money for surgeries or hormones.
Here also adds a big plug for What the Trans podcast, which is amazing.
No.
I'll add it to
Thank you, sweetie.
Too. So that brings up a thing. So Kira is one of your partners, I think, right?
That is correct.
Do you want to talk about how pandemic has impacted your life as a poly person?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's been a challenge. We had, I think we had about 3 months of quite strict lockdown in the UK. So it was kind of like, I live on my own. I don't live with any of my partners. Some of my other partners live with like their metamors, which is like a polyamorous term for their like partners that are your partner's partners. But you're not dating. So like some of them are already like in established housing situations where they have a nesting partner that they live with. So that, you know, makes it difficult to be able to be like, well, I'm just going to see you, and because you want to try and limit I was really trying to limit the amount of people I was seeing, so as to not spread any germs to anyone, because at least one of my partners is sort of a class as more like vulnerable group for COVID, because she's got like health issues. One of my other partners works in healthcare, so they're like coming into contact with a lot of people, some of whom might also be like high risk people. So really don't want to give them any germs, and yeah, so it became a point of having to choose a person. Like once they said like, oh, we're going to introduce this thing called like a social bubble, so like if you live on your own, you can like team up with someone else who lives on their own and be like your own little situation. So it was a choice of like, well, who am I going to go with? And it's a not very fun position to be in when you don't want to prioritize one person over another person, because it's not fair. But also, like, for my own mental health, I had to pick someone, because 3 months on my own of no
contact at all,
no contact with anyone, like no physical contact, and no like sort of like face to face contact was if I went to the shops to get some food, and that was like seeing people in a shop with face masks on, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like when the longest conversation you have in an entire week is with the postal person who's brought you a package. It's that's like the longest
go
in
like
face
days and days without hearing your own voice.
Yeah. Like I'd be able to do online stuff, but it's not really the same as being in person with someone.
Yep.
So yeah, when that got lifted, I then had to make a decision on who I was gonna like team up with, and one of my partners lives on their own, so we both sort of like bubbled, just the two of us. So then I got to at least like hug people again.
Yeah.
But just her, so it was just like one person.
Yep. To give hope to folks, like this weekend is the first time I've seen folks in person and had them over to my house, because we're all like fully vaccinated 2 weeks post, like nobody's got any symptoms. And we kept trying to like do like plan, like let's play board games, let's do a thing, like let's do an activity. And honestly, just the joy of talking and sharing a meal and being close is enough. Like we don't need all this other stuff. And like yesterday, I spent the entire day just like on the couch taking turns cuddling my different friends that were here. There was just 3 friends. It's not a wild party. It's just 3 people, but just like happy little cuddle puddle on the couch and like head scritches, and it was just like the best ever. Like I've been staying up till 3 or 4 in the morning the last 3 nights because I've just been so heckin' delighted just being around people. I love my wife, and I still love her company, a year into pandemic, and she's the only person I've been around consistently this whole time. I still totally love her, adore her, everything. But it's nice to talk to other people whose brains do other things, because it's to the point where like my wife and I are having the same conversation every day, because we just talk every day all the time. And so it's nice to talk to someone else and have a surprising reaction that I can't predict.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it's so, there's just like long hugs and crying. It's just all long hugs and crying. And like the social norm in my brain is like you're only supposed to hug for like a couple moments, and you kind of read their body language, and if they let go, you let go too, or whatever. And we're just like 2-3 minute hugs and just tears down the face. That's that's what this weekend has been, and it's just so beautiful. And like,
Yeah.
you know, everyone's trans, so we're all like, you know, we've made it a couple more steps on our journey, and we look different and we sound different, and it's like really
Yeah.
cool. And like, you know, one of my friends is several months ahead of me in the like being on HRT journey, and is also sort of a curvy bean, and it's like, I'm gonna be as handsome as you one day, and it's just so cute and wholesome and great. And we also both do puns and dad jokes, so you know, everyone else rolls their eyes at the two of us both being
Yeah.
like the trans, like we're gonna have beards and be wholesome and make puns and wiggle our eyebrows and drink cold brews in the morning.
Oh, that
It's so
sounds
great.
cute.
I love it so hard.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing ever. Yeah.
Oh.
So I haven't slept enough in days. So I've been
Oh,
busy
bless you.
loving people instead. It's the best.
Yeah. It is. It is the best, and it's. Oh. I mean, I managed to like actually hang out in a garden and hug some of my other partners like a couple of weekends ago, and it was just like, oh wow,
Yeah.
it's it's a whole new world.
Well, and like we're having to learn how to socialize again, and like
Mm.
the social contact like exhaustion is so like it's like we wear out faster. We don't have the stamina we
Oh
used
yeah,
to. Like
definitely.
everyone at different points each of the days this weekend has had to leave the room and go take a nap because the social
Hmm.
contact is so different from what we've all gotten used to. It's
Yeah,
like I need to go turn off all the stimulation and lay in a dark room for a while and come back later. Like it's just so great, and like my brain
yeah.
can't even handle the amount of everything that's happening. So someone asked a wonderful fluffy question while you were gone. What kind of tea do you
Mm.
drink and how do you prepare it?
I usually drink Earl Grey, as Kira's put in chat. um, and I always have it black because I just can't be bothered to faff about trying to get plant-based milks to not separate in my tea. And yeah, I usually just like put if I'm just doing a cup for myself, I'll just put a tea bag in the cup and put the hot water in and leave it for a minute and take the tea bag out and then drink it. If you leave the bag in too long, it gets bitter.
You get tannins. Yeah.
Yeah. So I try not to leave it in too long because I don't like it when it's very bitter. But yeah, it's either that or coffee, which I also usually drink black. It is a very important British question. We get very weird about tea, and I don't like. Some people get weird about like, oh, do you put the milk in first? Do you put the water in first? And I'm just like, well, I always drink mine black anyways, so it doesn't really matter to me. So I like to think I'm less high strung about tea than some British people, but I usually get the Twinings one, in response to the brand. I like the good stuff. Not the like supermarket own brand cheap ones.
Nice.
I don't allow myself many expensive like brand things, so it's like.
Do you ever do loose leaf or do you mostly do tea bags?
I have done loose leaf. I need to get more like strainers and stuff so I can have more loose leaf stuff. There's a cafe that's like not far from where I live that does like a lot of really nice like fruity loose leaf teas that they make and sell, and they're always really nice. So I do want to get stuff.
I live in the Pacific Northwest of USA, and we have all of these like indie tea shops with all the loose leaf and the thing. It's a whole thing. And there's one that does this like lavender Earl Grey. I've also had a chocolate Earl Grey.
Ooh.
And
sounds intriguing.
yeah, special local blends. Yeah. So
yeah,
if you ever for some reason end up in this region of the world, let's go have tea in a fancy tea shop and pretend we're bougie or something for an hour or two or 5.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I would definitely like to do like I feel like at this point I need to do like a worldwide trip to like see all my new Twitch pals, but like um there are definitely folks that I want to hang out with when it's a thing that I can do safely. It's just yeah,
I hear
in the
that.
future.
Yeah. Well, and there's still, I think, plenty of travel restrictions in place and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything else you wanted to say about navigating trans healthcare in the UK, or do you feel like you covered that already?
Um.
You definitely talked about chunks of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's more that might have got missed.
I think I covered most of it. I mean, if there's any like, if there are any folks who are, you know, UK based and early on in their transition, like I'm always happy to like talk directly to you about like any sort of, you know, like concerns you have, any issues you have, or you know, I guess if there are also like any trans masculine folks who are UK based who know like good top surgeons, because that might be a thing that I decide to do, and it's probably gonna be before I get to the top of the queue for the GIC, so I'm probably gonna have to do a like private situation. And it's like having the spoons to research who's good, who's not, whose techniques are good that I want that suit what I want, and it's the whole time.
Yeah. So this is a possible silly question, and you can decide to not answer it.
Okay.
So content warning for more trans medical body things, but what do you think about the nipples versus no nipples question when you have top surgery?
If I get it done, I'm definitely having no nipples.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've
Nice.
spent all these years having to cover my nipples up because they're the wrong nipples.
Oh
And if I
god,
was
yeah.
going to get them, if I was going to get top surgery, I would definitely just be no nipples, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. I guess it would be kind of a. I've got like fancy nipple covers, you know, like pasties and
Mm-hmm.
stuff for certain events where you know you want to be covered up in certain bits, but not in everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
I've been thinking it'd be
and
fun to have no nipples, but then get
mm,
like roses, purple
mm,
roses tattooed where nipples would be.
yeah,
And so
that'd be
then
fun.
I don't have nipples, but I have tattooed on nipples, but they're not like the tattoo nipples that look very
Mm,
much like nipples, but it's like a rose, but if you're not paying enough attention, you don't notice it. It's like a Easter egg.
yeah. Yeah, I think that could be fun. I was also thinking like I've got like, you know, these fancy like pasties and stuff. I could just stick them on where my nipples would be if I want to be like, you know, I'm feeling
Ooh,
fancy. I want to be sparkly.
you're missing out on secret mysteries.
Yeah. So, you know, it gives you options, doesn't it? And then you can just be shirtless and not get shouted at
Yeah.
because, you know, that would be nice. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still sort of trying to decide on that sort of if I want to get it done because it's a lot of like prep beforehand to like make sure I'm gonna have like enough help and yeah.
People are saying delightfully saucy things in chat too.
Yeah. It went saucy.
It's you
Uh,
have like you have a fan club. They were saying earlier, oh, what did they call you? Like the Radiant Constellation or the Radiant Collection.
oh,
They were saying that they all collectively can be the Radiant Collection.
oh, lovely humans. I'm very lucky. I feel very lucky and very well loved because like I do have like a bunch of folks like who decide that I'm cool enough to date and spend a lot of time with, and it's you know, and they're all lovely trans. I think yeah, all my current partners are also trans folks at the minute, so it's like we're all different like genderful beings, just loving each other, and it's great.
I love that so much. I was I don't even know how many times we said this, but as I was telling you, I was hanging out with those friends, and we just sat around and talked about how hot trans people are for at least an hour. Different, just all the trans people, all the different ones. We're just like, everyone is just so hot.
Yeah, it is.
And not in a summer way. Just like, we're just all so hot. It's great.
Yeah. I think it's also just having that shared experience and having the sort of, like, even if you're sort of different flavors of trans folk, it's, you know, the understanding that you get from that you don't always get with cis folk as much. Like, I have dated cis people in the past, and it's, you know, it has been nice and it has been not so nice at times, and, you know, it's, I think when you're just dating other trans people, it removes a lot of the having to go through the basics of, like, well, you know, can we not use these terms for these areas, please? And you know, all that fun stuff. And having to explain why that's a thing that we need to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the questions that we have here is, are folks close to you accepting of your gender, which you're sort of alluding to a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, my current partners are all like I said, trans folk, and they're all very accepting. I also feel quite lucky in that my parents, my biological parents, are also very accepting of my situation. I think my mom was a bit confused when I first came out, and she struggled with the name change, and she's still occasionally misses the pronouns a bit, but I mean, she does try, and they've been like really good at, like, when I said, like, oh, can you not get me like birthday cards with like daughter on anymore, like, and stuff like that. And yeah, I also have a younger sibling, and they've been really great about it. Like, when I said, like, oh, can we go to Sibling for a thing instead of like sister and stuff. So and now every time they message me, they're like, hey Sib, how's things, hope you're doing well. And it's just nice. Like, but yeah, I think it's work's been odd, because like I started a new job in March this year, and then like started going into the office and meeting people, and they're obviously like, now my voice has dropped. They're all like, oh, this is a person whose name sort of is like more assumed to be a man's name. I don't know why people raise a man's name. I think they think some people assume it's short for Raymond, or anyways. And then they hear the deep voice and they're like, oh, that's a man. And then it's like, okay.
But also not that. Actually, this other thing over here.
And it's kind of like, it's weird, because it's like all the previous like social things I've been like sort of coming into previously, like obviously before I started testosterone and before my voice dropped, people would see me and be like, ah, yes, woman-shaped person, because, you know, boobs and hips and all that stuff, and
all the curves and stuff.
Yeah. And then, you know, even like when I was sort of like going out wearing like really sort of like masculine presenting clothes, like full suit with like a binder on and everything, and like, I don't know if it's just like the higher pitched voice or what, but yeah, it's still always just like, you're a girl, you're a girl, you're a girl, and it's just like, so it's been kind of interesting to go into a space and be assumed the gender the other way.
Yeah.
And it's been a sort of like refreshing shift, I guess. But it's also still like, okay, when do I have the conversation? When do we sit the cis people down and have the talk about the genders things? Because it's, yeah, it's, I mean, I've got my pronouns in my email signature, but I don't think anyone reads that.
Yeah. You know, whenever I've been learning, like, in social situations, anytime you would say your name, like, my name has become longer. It's my name and my pronouns. It's the whole set. Like, it's not name, it's name and pronouns. Like, no spaces, one word. Name and pronouns. And then, I don't know. So if, like, you know, hi, dental hygienist, I'm GenderMeowster, I use they, them pronouns. It's just... It's been interesting to, like, program that little routine into my head so that I can tell people.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the other interesting thing about, like, starting this job was because when I started, I've been doing like a mix of in the office and working from home. I haven't met all my colleagues straight away in person.
Yeah.
Some of them I was in the office last week and met someone I hadn't met in person until now. Like, and I've been working there since March.
Yeah.
Because, like, we've just not bumped into each other when we've been in the office. Like,
Yeah.
it's so weird because we've, like, communicated over email. So they've seen my name written down.
But they haven't heard your voice. They haven't heard your voice either.
And then they, like, meet me and it's like, oh, hello. You're this young man that's just joined us. And I'm like,
Goodness.
hi.
Yeah, I wonder if people will ever figure out the non-binary, you know, no longer binary gender options.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like for when you're, like, going into maybe more specifically LGBTQ spaces, like it's more of a thing of, like, don't assume someone's gender or pronouns before you know. But oh, we got a Jonas.
We did.
Being raided.
Welcome in, Raiders. We're recording a podcast, so that's probably all we'll say to you for now, but glad you're here.
Hi, friends.
Especially since it's Jonas, and that might be how we met.
I think
is that how we met? Was it in Jonas's stream? Was I like, who is this cool person who's always in Jonas's stream?
Yeah, I think Jonas might have raided you a few times, and that's how I got to see your stream, and was like, oh, okay, this is a person that I want to spend more time with.
Yeah. We can also just take a minute and swoon over, one, how great Jonas's voice acting / singing is, and two, how cute Mary and Jonas are when they do things together.
Yes.
So
very
cute. I remember a time it was like 2 a.m. or something here, and y'all were doing some sort of early morning Discord hangout thing. And I rolled into Jonas's Discord and was like, hey, y'all. And you're like, wow, the one American is here. This is cool.
I was very giddy. So I don't think I'd like spoken to you at all, like, one-on-one.
Yeah.
Outside of, like, you know, being in Twitch chat and being like, hi.
Yeah. That's probably the first time I heard your lovely voice.
Oh.
It's so lovely.
Thank you.
Seriously, though, your voice is like transition goals. Like, I hope my voice one day is as velvety and wonderful as yours. Yeah, Ray's laugh is the best, Mary. You're correct.
Oh, Mary. So sweet. Oh, dear. But yeah, they're definitely a lovely couple, and Jonas is a really nice person who is just, you know, introduced me to even more cool people, including yourself. So, you know, very grateful to him and his things. So yeah, it's, you know, this is the thing of, like, Twitch. You can discover new people, and then you're like, oh wow, this person's awesome.
Totally. Look at what Morgan did.
No.
What a pal.
Cutie.
No. So cute. Well, we talked a little bit about people at work being weird about your gender, but let's talk about the opposite. Can you share a moment or some examples of gender euphoria? like where are times that either you just within yourself felt affirmed in your non-binary gender, or like socially felt affirmed, or both?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, now you were mentioning earlier about getting a haircut, and it's always like when I have a fresh haircut, I'm always just like, ah, yes, this is a good time. It's a nice time. And also, you know, dyeing my hair like all various colors, like it's kind of like bluey greenish at the minute, but it's been all sorts. It's been purple. It's been sort of more like red, greens, blues, and all sorts. And I like doing those sort of different things, switching it up, and it's quite fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just sort of like it has been kind of nice to be able to just like go out and get gendered in a way that's not 100% like right, but also like not being seen as a girl all the time has been really good. But yeah, I do like it, like getting to see people again and them sort of saying like, "Oh, your voice is really deep and cool and nice," and I'm just sort of like, "Oh, thank you." It makes me all like giddy and happy, and yeah, and it's just a nice time. But yeah, it's you could like it's just weird how you can just find euphoria in something as like simple as, you know, getting a good haircut, or, you know, wearing a like I wore a binder to the office the other day, and I was just sort of like walking around like in my t-shirt, like, oh, this is just it's so nice. So yeah, it's
Well, and
all sorts of different things.
I've seen your gender presentation very day to day. Like, are
Mm.
there like different outfits that give you euphoria, and you know, is there some element of gender fluidity to your gender presentation?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because you've got like the cat wings or the eye wings going on a little bit right now, plus the button up Hawaiian shirt
Yeah,
situation.
I love doing like sometimes when I go out for like a fancy thing, I'll do like full face of makeup and then like very mask clothes, or like, you know, just sort of like mix it up a bit, or like have like a shirt and then a skirt, and just have like, you know, sort of all the different clothing options. But, you know, I do like wearing dresses and makeup and you know, being sparkly and glittery and all that fun stuff. And that can also bring me euphoria. It's just like, yeah, it does shift. I think it shifts to like, I think I go through periods of being like, oh no, no, I'm really in a like suit mood, or like I really want to be like flat boy mode, sort of like wearing like, you know, wearing my binder and wearing stuff that's sort of like more like button ups, and then like have like, oh yeah, no, I want like floaty dresses, and so
Yeah.
it shifts.
So for the Pride party, you had this video that was like edited really well of your pole dancing,
Yeah.
and you had different outfits that were sort of matchy, but also
Hmm.
some of them felt like they were different genders. Do you want to talk at all about those different outfits you were wearing?
Um, yeah, so I have like a few different like sets for my like pole things, but I think the ones that I wore for the video, I had like a black and purple set. Um, it's like mostly black and it's got like little bits of like purple trim on it. And I think that was one of the first sort of like matching sets I got, because it's like I like black and I like purple, so I was just like, well, that'll do. Um, so I had that on for one of the bits that like I just filmed like a bunch of stuff. I think I had a day or so where I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do like an hour or two, filmed some bits, had a break, had a shower, and then like came back and was like, oh, it'd be fun to do like an outfit change. So then I had the like, I think it was the white, it's like snake print fabric, and the rainbow socks, which you were very much enthused by.
I love the rainbow socks.
They are really cool. I was just like, well, I've got to get more gay in because it was like the original thing that I filmed it for was an LGBTQ showcase. So I'd got like these rainbow lights on my back wall, and then I was like, well, I need to get more rainbows in somewhere. So I put the socks on. Mostly because the shoes, my pole shoes dig in a bit if I'm not wearing socks with them. And then I didn't end up wearing the shoes for like half of it because my feet were just like, no more.
They're like mega platformy too. Those are big shoes.
They are.
I was like,
And
how are they not breaking their ankles with these magnificent shoes? It's like incredible.
practice a bit. I have practiced in the shoes like a reasonable amount. I should probably practice in them more. I got them just because they're shiny.
So shiny. Well, Koto524 asks, have you ever gotten involved or more involved in specific hobbies because you find euphoria in them?
I mean, it's kind of. I think I was nervous coming into pole because I was worried that it was going to be a very gendered thing with like most of the folks doing it are women, and I was a bit worried that like I'd get to the studio and the instructor would be like, you know, hey girls, hey ladies, hey whatever, and like using very female gendered terms. So like I messaged the woman who runs the studio that's like near where I live and was like, look, I'm thinking about coming, but I'm non-binary and you know, I don't want to end up like in a space where you're using lots of gendered terms and that would make me feel uncomfortable, like having to, you know, engage with that and either correct you or, you know, deal with being like misgendered. And she came back to me and she was really positive and she was like, oh, I don't use gendered terms in my classes like for the group, and you know, if you just let me know like what pronouns you want to use and like all that sort of stuff, then we can like I'll make sure like we're using the right ones. And they've been really great and very accepting, and like all the regulars now know me and my pronouns and my situation, and they're all just sort of like cool. So I think it's been like I don't think I would have stayed involved in it if it had been like very sort of like, hey gals, let's go do this sort of like situation. Which I mean, like I can't really say for the studios because like I've only really been to the one that's like near my house. There might be other places that are more sort of like, yeah, ladies, let's get our pole on sort of situation, which would not be a fun time for me.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like I've managed to meet other like non-binary people who do it. Like the person who organized the showcase that I was in, they are another non-binary person who does pole stuff, and they're super cool. And they were like, oh, I'm doing this thing, and I was talking to them about it, and I was like, yeah, it sounds really cool. I just don't really feel like I'm experienced enough to do it because I've only been doing pole for like a year and a bit. And they're like, yeah, but just apply for it, it'll be fine. And then I applied for it and then got in, and I was like,
nice.
now I need to do this thing, and it was really good fun. So you know, I'm glad I did it. But yeah, like and now I've started on testosterone.
Yeah.
And my muscle gains have gone like, so I'm all like
strong. There goes the gun show. Strong. Love it.
Strong.
So strong. And you got cool tattoos.
I've got like muscles here.
Yeah.
Like that bit that
right
goes
here.
like, yeah, up to your neck there. Like, yeah, it's like just ridiculous. I was just like, whoa, I've suddenly got like muscles, and put on a shirt that I've not worn for a bit and the arms are tight, and I'm like, oh, okay. That happened.
Oh, a problem I've never experienced before. How novel.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, okay, that's new. So yeah, it's like
Good thing you know a tailor.
Well, it's difficult to let clothes out. That's the problem. I can take them in.
Yep.
It's letting them out is more difficult. I think I might have to give that shirt away.
No.
Yeah, it's fine.
What if you just like added a little panel under here? So then there's like a funny little thing, but you don't see it most of the time because it's like in your armpit and underneath. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you could just do sleeveless and just show your guns off all the time.
Just cut the sleeves off. That's the solution.
It's a solution. It may not be the solution, but it is at least a solution.
Gusset time. Oh no. Oh dear.
Okay. I came up with a question for you while we've been talking. Okay. So, you know, you didn't know this one was coming. Again, any question, if you're like, I don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. But so regarding like gender and polyamory, what have you noticed anything about? Do you take on different gender roles or different gender presentations in different partnerships? You know, if you're dating a trans woman versus a non-binary person versus maybe a trans man or whoever you might be dating, do you notice that there is a bit of fluidity in the different ways you approach those different relationships?
I don't think so. I mean, I think like I'm always quite sort of fluid in my sort of day to day. So like, you know, if I'm hanging out with a partner, like one day I might be sort of more masculine feeling, and then, but you know, then I might also hang out with them when I'm in a sort of more femme headspace at another point. So I think it can, like, it shifts for me sort of like, you know, I might have like, you know, periods of being sort of more like masculine feeling or like more femme feeling, but they sort of just come and go as they come and go, and you know, my partner's just sort of like, oh, okay, raising a dress today, and they compliment me on my dress, and it's nice, and you know, they like my makeup, and it's nice, and you know, I think that a lot of like the folks that I'm dating at the minute, like again, them all being sort of trans and on the in the sort of like nebula of, you know, different trans possibilities, sort of get that, you know, sometimes I'm gonna just show up and be wearing a binder and wearing a shirt, and then they can, you know, be like, oh, you're so handsome and your muscles and no, and then, you know, I can show up in a dress and all sparkly, and then they're like, oh, you're so pretty and your muscles are no, because they all seem very giddy about the muscles.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Well, you're a very swoonable being in general.
No. Thank you.
I'll let the chat know this is sort of our last call for AMA questions, but I have one more question that I came up with for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to make sure folks know about your perspective on gender and non-binary and trans issues?
I mean, I think it's, you know, everyone's got their own sort of experience of it, and when people, you know, I think most like cis folks specifically, but like I've been in positions before where someone's been like, oh, well, how do all non-binary people feel about their gender? And it's like, well, I can't speak for other non-binary people because there's lots of them, and they all have different, like, you know, feelings about their gender. And,
totally.
You know, I think it's just sort of like, for me, it's been a journey of, you know, sort of figuring out that from sort of feeling like I wasn't quite 100% a woman to figuring out that, you know, there was this other option that I could just be not either, and, you know, recognizing those sorts of shifts in how I sort of feel. And I mean, even sometimes it's sort of like, you know, you use clothes to decorate yourself, to, you know, signal to the world like, oh, you know, this is who I am, and, you know, sort of playing around with that, and like I said, like playing with wearing sort of very masculine coded things, but then lots of makeup or like high heels or whatever, and wearing, you know, a dress and Doc Martens and all those fun things. It's a fun time to be able to mess around with the established gender roles and gender norms and be like, well, this is what society wants you to do, and I'm going to not do that. Mm-hmm. And just sort of leaning into being a bit of a like chaotic being. Yeah. Be the cryptid you want to see in the world.
Yes, be the cryptid you want to see in the world. So good. I love that so much.
My non-binary mood.
I love it so much. Well, let's talk about some resources, some cross promo for those who maybe joined the stream since we began. So you shared this quick and easy guide to they them pronouns by Archie Bon Giovanni and Tristan Jimerson. I'm gonna plunk this in the Twitch chat for those who are here live with us.
Yeah, I mean, I found this useful when talking, like with my mom specifically, but also with like work colleagues and stuff in the past. Like for folks who, especially maybe people of like older generations who haven't had a lot of dealings with non-binary people and don't really know how to deal with, you know, someone who's using they them pronouns. I found this to be quite helpful. It's like a really nicely illustrated little book, and it's quite cheap to get a hold of. Like I think the authors said they specifically priced it like quite low, so people could afford to get like multiple copies if they needed to, like give them to family members, give them to friends. And I mean, as much as, you know, like non-binary people shouldn't have to do the legwork on making sure their pronouns get respected, I think like sometimes, you know, if you want to try and have someone stay in your life and have them, you know, stick around, and they want to do the, you know, they want to be respectful, but they don't really know how. This can be like a helpful resource to like give them this book and be like, go away, read this, digest it, and then come back, and we'll go from there. And it did really help with my mom, because she was really struggling when I first came out, and kept messing up my pronouns a lot, and it was just like, Mom, I love you, but please try harder.
Yeah. So I just posted this guide that you were talking about in our Solidarity Resources channel and gave you credit for sharing the resource.
Oh. No. Thank you, pal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, and there's, you know, there'll be other things around the internet that that you can find, I'm sure, but that's one I came across. I did find it quite useful in that discussion.
Awesome. And our dear friend Transgriffin has went and retrieved all the links to all the things that Kira mentioned. So I've just plunked all of that in the chat for y'all. These will also all be in the show notes. So once this is on YouTube and on podcast, you can get these there as well. So please don't feel scarcity about access to these resources. They will be around.
Thank you, Transgriffin, for that.
Totally.
Work.
What a pal. Also, thank you to Me for moderating the chat and doing the AMA questions and also managing Discord role snafus all at the same time. But like, we have such an incredible team.
Definitely.
I guess the other thing I want to mention, especially since you're my guest, like as one of the mods, is once a month we have Mod Appreciation Day.
Yes.
And if folks want to support the mod team anytime, day or night, there's our tip page on PallyGG, and there are 10 different people that split those tips. Even though my name is on there at the top, I give my share of the tips to my son, who's one of the content editors. So I don't actually get any of that money, the mods do. And so our very first mod day, I think we raised 110 or 120 US dollars for the mods to split 10 ways. Yeah. So that's cool. Folks out of country, out of USA, don't get their share of tips until it's at least 20 US dollars because of international transaction fees. So you've got like $12 sitting in there. You're just waiting for that other 8 to roll in. We'll get there someday. But so if anyone wants to support all of the incredible team that makes this community happen, it's not me. I am not the only one. There are so many of us that work together on it. Then please do consider supporting the mods in that way. I just heard a little sound. Did we just get some sort of alert? I don't know. Maybe. Oh, no. Maybe. Oh, it was a Ko-Fi. Someone did a Ko-Fi. Thanks, someone who did a Ko-Fi. It was so kind of you. And yes, if you'd like to support me and the stuff that I do, this is my full-time deal. So there's also I'm so unaccustomed to hearing that alert go off. I didn't even know it just happened. That was so funny.
Oh, very cute.
Yeah, if you want to support me, I've got a Ko-Fi, I've got a Patreon. You can actually sign up for recurring monthly support on both Patreon and Ko-Fi. I paid for Ko-Fi Gold so that folks have that option. The great thing about Ko-Fi is they don't take any processing fees.
They don't take a cut.
I mean, once there's a payout, like the PayPal or whatever, will take the fees out. But Ko-Fi itself doesn't take any. So, if you would like to support this work, but you don't want to give Twitch your money, then you have options.
Yes. I think I do appreciate it when streamers have a Ko-Fi or a non-Twitch affiliated way to support them, because as much as I love finding people through Twitch, I don't love giving Bezos my money.
Yeah.
So I don't tend to subscribe to channels through Twitch directly. I will send Ko-Fis or however else they have their sort of donation situation set up, like Patreons or whatever.
Totally.
Yeah.
One of my friends that was here this weekend was sharing an idea that they had with me about on my Patreon having some tiers that are things like maybe like the couple dollar tier is you have access to the channel where I tell you like aggressively wholesome affirmations every day.
Yes, I need this. We were joking about it in the Discord, and it was just like, yeah, no, that would definitely be a thing that GenderMeowster would do.
Totally. So let's see. I'm meeting with that friend of mine to we're going to sit down and figure it out together and brainstorm, because I consistently undervalue my offerings. I always price it too low. So I need my friend to help me price it at a reasonable thing so I can actually do the thing. So we're meeting on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific. We will do the thing. So there may be a point later this week where the Patreon gets some upgrades and there'll be fun offerings in there. But one of the other ideas we've been talking about is sort of like almost like, I don't know, trans life coaching or something, where I have a one-on-one 30-minute thing with you and we just talk about your trans stuff and we brainstorm, or I just tell you how great you are or whatever it is. But it's just that one-on-one connection, and that let's build you up and problem solve together, and you don't have to be alone with all the trans feels and all of that, which I already do for free in the Discord when I have time. But if someone definitely wants to make sure they get a piece of my time, there's a way that we could do that. And we also talked about some sort of community bucket or pay it forward or something, so that those who have the means can support those who don't, also having that sort of access to that one-on-one stuff. I mean, we also have mods around. We have great free offerings too, but just trying to find ways to offer something valuable.
Yeah.
So then people can support me in ways that make sense, because I still have to feed Neferkitty.
Yeah.
I still have to take her to the vet and get her teeth cleaned and whatever else I do. Yeah. So anyway, just give people the option, and it's people don't have to, but it's nice to have the offering for those who do. I know I've tried to throw money at people and they don't even have a way for me to do it. And I'm like, I just want to give you my money. Give me a way to do it, please.
Yeah. I think I did talk one of my streamer pals into setting up a Ko-Fi or something so I could eat them more money. I think I was just PayPaling them directly because I already had their PayPal from. They commissioned me to make a crochet thing, so I was just like, well, I'm just sending you some money now.
That's so great.
Have it.
Yeah. Well, my son is the same way. He keeps doing all this stuff for free, and I'm like, I love you, kid. You have to pay off your first car. You can't keep doing all this free stuff. I mean, you totally can, but also,
and value because your labor and your efforts, and
he's not 18 yet, so he can't have most of the things. So I sent him like Apple Cash or whatever, and he can spend it on whatever stuff. I don't know. So it's cute.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's so sweet that your family all get involved in the stream. Like, your wife helps with the tech things, and your son helps with the stuff, and great.
It's so nice. Like, my son built my streaming PC. My wife built the shelf that I have all the monitors mounted on, and does like a bunch of the tech moderating. My daughter is helping with some of the social media stuff, which it's hard. Doing social media things is hard. If you're good at social media and you want to help me market things and like post my clips on the internet, let me know. Yeah. I've got a job for you.
It is hard. I think it's just having the energy to keep. You have to keep producing stuff constantly for that sort of thing, and it's just having that, like,
I have the content. I have over 900 clips and highlights. Like, I have stuff. I just need someone to take the stuff and put words on it and the hashtags and do the thing. It's just it's I've chosen to like sleep enough at night instead of do that activity on top of everything else.
I mean, sleep is also important.
It's so important. I would be terrible at everything else I'm doing if I didn't do that. So it's super a lot. Also, hello son, it's nice to see you. I hope you're having a nice vacation, and I miss your face.
No.
I miss you, friend. I miss you. I miss you, my not offspring, but child who lives in my life sometimes that I love. So now I'm spinning. I'm
you like happy leaning spinning
back and because I left my kid.
It's very sweet.
It's the best. Well, as a reminder for everyone, Ray has great masks, so you can totally go buy. Would you like to show us again?
Yes.
I like the rainbow one. I want that. I know shipping here doesn't make any sense, but it's nice. It's so
fabric. Good. They've all got fabric ties because I don't like the behind the ear ones, and also elastics have been a bit of an awkward thing to get hold of. That's the trans pride flag one.
And you tie-dyed it yourself. That's so cool.
I did.
I love that you did that. How many of those did you make? Do you have like 4 left or something?
I have a few. So that was the only one that I've got fully sewed up. I've got a few that have been dyed. They just haven't been fully sewn together yet. Because I was like, well, I'm not going to sew them all together if they're not going to move. Mm-hmm. So if I sell more, then I'll sew them. And then this is the yay rainbow space with nose wire. I can put nose wires in the other ones. I just think they fit nicer with these bendy ones, and they all have little filter pockets inside. Nice.
Because you put pockets in everything you make.
I do put pockets in everything I make.
Mischief mustache.
Yeah, I made myself like this is like last year was the first time I made like actual like practical clothing. I started sewing when I started cosplaying like a few years ago, and then like made a lot of cosplay stuff, and then decided to make like actual clothes eventually. Which is when this shit happened. And I've also got like a bunch of other things I made. I did like a dress. I think I did like a couple of skirts and a waistcoat, all sorts.
Can people commission outfits from you?
They can. I'll probably price myself way too low like you do, because I'm always just like, oh, just pay for the fabric, I guess. Because fabric's expensive. But yeah, I mean, again, it's sort of like tricky to know how shipping abroad would go, but yeah.
Well, I personally would love to, after I've had top surgery, I would love to commission a vest because I'm still going to have bigger hips. But one of my like transition goals is to have a vest that looks really good on me. And I will pay all the shipping and all the things. And I will give you money for your time. And I would love to do that and just give you hundreds of dollars for my gender affirming vest.
I will definitely make you a vest.
And then I'll wear it on stream and tell everybody you made it.
No.
It'll be so great. I love it.
Yeah, I made myself like a waistcoat in that rainbow space fabric, which is why I got it.
Oh, that's the coolest thing ever. How are you as cool as you are? I don't understand how do you fit this much cool in one body? You must be magic.
It's a fluke.
It's so great. I love it so much. Aw, everyone, this is so wonderful.
No, Kira.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with everybody before we go raid someone?
Just be nice to each other. Love each other. It's, you know, it's like things are hard, and then, you know, the world can be hard, and, you know, us trans folks especially, we've got to stick together and look out for each other, because, like, you know, we were saying earlier, governments and establishments are still sort of pushing us into the fringes, and if we all sort of come together and support each other, and I think we could do at least help each other get through the hard times and then have the energy to fight back and win some sort of victories.
Yeah, totally. If you want Ray and I to tell you how handsome / pretty / pransome / good looking you are, come post your trans selfies in our Discord.
Yes.
And tell us which gender or genders of compliments you'd like to receive, and we will just love you up. Yeah. It's like one of my favorite pastimes is just telling people how great they look.
Yeah. Like, oh, wow, you're so cute. That outfit looks like really amazing. You're all sparkly and nice. Hi.
It's so fun. It's so fun and cute. Yay.
We love affirming our trans friends.
It's true. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for being an amazing being in the world. Thanks for all your support with moderating not only this community, but all the communities that you help out and support in, and for generally just being a cat about town.
Oh, thank you for having me on, and for being here and being awesome, and yeah, it's having other, like, you know, trans folk to connect with online, and, you know, finding the Discord and your community has been amazing and just so great. So.
Yay. Awesome.
Love you, pal.
I love you too. I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Yee.
You too.
Yee.